7. Signs you're dealing with a human demon. There's something you need to hear today, something that could change how you approach the people around you. Have you ever felt drained, confused, or like you're losing yourself in certain relationships? Maybe it's with someone close to you, a friend, family member, or even a colleague. You know deep down that something isn't right, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Well, here's the truth. You might be dealing with something much darker than you realize. You might be dealing with a human demon. Before you dismiss this as something out of a horror movie, let me clarify. I'm not talking about the supernatural. I'm talking about real human behavior that can be just as damaging and toxic as any monster you could imagine. Human demons exist, and they walk among us, often disguised in ways that are difficult to detect until it's too late. They wear masks of charm, feigned empathy, and calculated friendliness. They manipulate, deceive, and most dangerously, they drain the very life out of you without you even realizing how it's happening. But here's the good news. You don't have to be a victim. You don't have to fall prey to these predators. The first step is awareness. The first step is recognizing the signs so that you can protect your mental and emotional well-being. We've all heard the saying, knowledge is power. And when it comes to dealing with toxic people, knowledge is your first line of defense. I'm not here to tell you that people are all evil or that you should live in fear of everyone around you. That's not the message. But what I am telling you is this. Some people have mastered the art of manipulation and negativity to such an extent that they can leave you feeling lost, doubting yourself, and questioning your own reality. These people have one goal: to control. They will use any means necessary to drain your energy, shatter your confidence, and keep you in a constant state of emotional turmoil. You might think you're being paranoid or overreacting when you start noticing these behaviors, but you're not. It's important to recognize that these human demons don't just show up in the form of someone who's outwardly violent or obvious. They might be subtle. They might be the person who always knows how to push your buttons. They might be the one who seems so sweet and understanding, but you always leave their presence feeling more anxious than you were before. They might be the one who thrives on drama, who always has a crisis on hand, yet never takes responsibility for the chaos they cause. Or they might be the person who shows you affection, but only when they need something from you. You see, these individuals don't just leave you feeling bad temporarily. They erode your self-worth, they confuse your emotions, and they manipulate situations to make you doubt your own instincts. Over time, they create a reality where you are the problem, and they are the perpetual victim. They drain you emotionally, leaving you with nothing but empty promises and a twisted sense of obligation. And once you've been caught in their web, it's easy to feel trapped, unsure of how to get out, or even if you can. So, why am I talking to you about this? Because you deserve better. You have the right to protect your peace. You have the right to trust your instincts and to understand when something isn't right. Stoic wisdom teaches us that while we cannot control others, we have complete control over our reactions, our mindset, and the way we allow others to affect us. We don't have to accept toxic behavior. We can learn to spot the signs of manipulation, deception, and emotional exploitation before they destroy our inner peace. Today I'm going to walk you through the 7 signs that you might be dealing with a human demon. By the end of this, you'll have the tools to not only recognize these signs, but to take back your power and protect your energy. This isn't about living in fear, but about living with awareness. It's about setting boundaries, protecting your emotional health, and learning to walk away from relationships that don't serve your highest good, because you are worth more than being caught in someone's web of negativity. Now, I ask you to open your mind and your heart as we dive deep into this subject. It may be uncomfortable, but sometimes the truth stings, and often the most uncomfortable truths are the ones that set us free. Let's take this journey together, because you deserve to live a life where your peace is your own, where you are in control of your emotions, and where you are not at the mercy of someone else's toxicity. You deserve a life free from manipulation, from deceit, and from the human demons who try to tear you down. And that starts now. Sign 1. Emotional manipulation. The puppet master. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like someone was controlling your emotions, pushing you into reacting in ways you didn't plan. Perhaps it felt like you were always walking on eggshells, unsure of when the next emotional blow would land. You tried your best to keep the peace, but no matter how hard you tried, this person could always twist the situation, leaving you confused and questioning your own thoughts and feelings. This is emotional manipulation at its finest, and it's one of the most insidious traits of a human demon. These individuals understand the power of emotions, and they exploit that understanding to control and dominate you. They will use guilt, fear, and shame as their weapons, playing on your vulnerabilities and making you feel responsible for things you never did. It starts off small. A comment here, a suggestion there. They'll tell you things like, "I'm so disappointed in you," or "I thought you cared more than that." At first you might brush it off, but over time, these subtle jabs begin to eat away at your confidence and self-worth. Slowly, you find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do. You start to feel like you're constantly walking a fine line, trying to meet their expectations, which are always shifting. What they want is simple: control. They want you to believe that your feelings, your decisions, your actions are never enough. And once they've made you doubt yourself, they've already won. They've conditioned you to be dependent on their validation, and you've become a puppet in their hands. The Stoics teach us that our emotions should not be our masters. We are to master them. They knew that external forces will always try to manipulate our inner state, but it is only through self-control, discipline, and rational thought that we can maintain our peace. This is where you must draw the line. Don't let anyone control your emotional state. Recognize when someone is manipulating your feelings and choose not to be drawn into their game. Embrace the Stoic approach of examining your emotions, understanding them, and deciding not to let them dictate your actions. You deserve to be around people who lift you up, not people who constantly leave you feeling inferior. People who want the best for you will never manipulate your emotions to get what they want. If someone is always making you feel less than or controlling your feelings for their benefit, it's time to break free. Sign 2. Constant drama, the fire starter. Have you ever noticed someone who seems to be constantly embroiled in drama? It's as if they're always at the center of conflict, creating chaos wherever they go. You might think that it's just bad luck or a series of unfortunate events, but when you take a closer look, you'll see a pattern. These are the people who thrive on drama, who can't exist without a crisis. And more often than not, they're the ones who are lighting the match. Drama brings attention. Drama brings emotion. And for a human demon, drama is a tool to manipulate, to control, and to create a sense of chaos that keeps others focused on them. They stir the pot, start arguments, and are constantly involved in petty squabbles, making everything more complicated than it needs to be. But the moment they step into a situation, it's like the world suddenly spins out of control. It's exhausting. You might find yourself pulled into their mess even if you don't want to be. You'll feel like you're walking through a minefield, always ready to diffuse a new issue that suddenly appears. They create tension, escalate conflicts, and then, when things have gotten out of hand, they retreat and leave you to clean up the mess. But here's the catch. These individuals thrive on the energy that drama provides. For them, the chaos is an opportunity to feel important, to feel needed, and to make sure they stay the focal point of attention. They feed on the reactions they get from others, and they never seem satisfied unless they have a crowd rallying around them, either to support their side or to resolve the mess they've made. The Stoics taught us that tranquility is a key pursuit in life. They recognize that peace of mind is a virtue to be preserved, and external distractions, like drama, are to be avoided. If you're caught in a constant whirlwind of drama, you're not only wasting your energy, but you're also allowing someone to steal your peace. When you spot this behavior in someone, it's important to recognize the manipulation for what it is. Don't get caught up in the chaos they're creating. Learn to detach yourself from situations that are unnecessarily dramatic. Focus on cultivating a calm mind, one that is unaffected by external turmoil. Peace is power, and people who bring constant drama are only seeking to weaken your resolve and steal your peace. Protect it at all costs. If someone constantly stirs up trouble, don't feed into their game. Step away and protect your own mental and emotional well-being. You deserve calm. You deserve simplicity. Sign 3. Deceptive charm, the wolf in sheep's clothing. There's something unnerving about someone who's always the life of the party, who can walk into a room and make everyone feel like they've known them for years. They're charming, magnetic, and seem to have an endless supply of charisma. At first glance, you may even feel lucky to have them in your life. But as the days pass, something starts to feel off. Their charm feels like a mask, hiding something darker beneath. And suddenly you realize this person is too good to be true. Human demons often operate under the guise of charm. They are experts in making you feel seen, appreciated, and valued in ways that others can't quite match. But their kindness is not sincere. It's a calculated act designed to gain your trust and, ultimately, your compliance. They flatter you, tell you what you want to hear, and make you believe that they're your biggest supporter. But the moment they've gained your trust, they'll begin to use it against you. This deceptive charm is a tactic for manipulation. They'll use it to draw you in, making you feel special, needed, and loved. But underneath, they're calculating how they can control you. The moment you're hooked, they'll begin demanding things from you, whether it's your time, your energy, or even your values. They'll pull you into their web, making you feel like you owe them, that you need to give more, be more, do more, because after all, they've been so nice to you. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that we should be cautious in our judgments and not let appearances deceive us. We're reminded that true virtue is not something that can be easily faked. The wise know that real goodness comes from consistency in thought, action, and character, not just from temporary displays of kindness. When you encounter someone whose charm feels unnatural, whose kindness feels transactional, trust that gut instinct. The most important lesson here is not to be swayed by superficial gestures. Look deeper. Consistency in behavior over time is the true measure of someone's character. Recognizing charm as a manipulative tool allows you to step back and evaluate relationships from a place of clarity. Don't let their false charisma cloud your judgment. And remember, in the Stoic tradition, we believe in acting with integrity and virtue. You don't need to manipulate or deceive others to get ahead. So if someone is charming you into submission, ask yourself, what do they really want? And if their actions don't align with their words, step away. True connection comes from genuine reciprocity, not from being pulled into a game of manipulation. Sign 4. Energy drain. The psychic vampire. Have you ever spent time with someone only to walk away feeling completely exhausted, even though you didn't do anything physically draining? It's as if they've siphoned off every ounce of energy you had, leaving you feeling empty, depleted, and emotionally drained. You didn't even realize it was happening until it was too late. But these energy vampires know exactly how to take without ever giving back. Energy drainers don't just exhaust you physically, they sap your emotional reserves as well. These people thrive on being the center of attention. They need constant validation and reassurance, and they won't hesitate to pull you into their world of chaos and negativity, even if it means wearing you down. They may not do this intentionally, though some do, but it doesn't change the fact that they will leave you feeling less like yourself after spending time with them. You feel their negativity seep into your soul, and by the time you're done with them, you feel emotionally depleted. It may start innocently enough. A friend who seems to need a little extra attention, or a family member who requires constant support. At first, you're happy to be there for them. You listen, you give, and you give some more. But over time, you begin to notice a pattern. They take, and you give. They drain your emotional reserves with no effort to refill them. The more you give, the less you have left. Eventually, you're left with nothing but an empty feeling, like you've been emotionally robbed. The Stoic approach teaches us that we must recognize our own energy and protect it fiercely. We are not meant to be emotional punching bags for others, nor are we supposed to sacrifice our peace for someone else's neediness. Stoicism encourages us to know what is in our control and what isn't. And one of the things that's within your control is how much of your energy you give to others. If you find yourself constantly drained by someone who never reciprocates, you need to set boundaries. Stop giving so much of yourself away. Be mindful of the people you allow into your life. There's nothing wrong with offering your energy to others, but it should be a mutual exchange, not a one-sided drain. Self-care is a Stoic principle, understanding that your well-being is important, and that sometimes the most virtuous thing you can do for others is to take care of yourself first. The best way to deal with an energy vampire is to recognize the pattern and break the cycle. Don't feel guilty for taking time for yourself or for setting boundaries. True strength lies in knowing when to say no and in prioritizing your own emotional health. You can't give from an empty cup, so if someone is constantly draining yours, it's time to step back and reevaluate the relationship. Protect your energy. You are the guardian of your own peace. Sign 5. Lack of empathy. The hollow soul. Have you ever been in a situation where someone seemed completely indifferent to your pain, your struggles, or your feelings? No matter what you went through, they didn't seem to care. Instead, they might have been quick to dismiss your emotions, or even worse, they may have mocked or belittled you for feeling the way you do. This lack of empathy is one of the most glaring signs you're dealing with a human demon. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person, and it's a core element of human connection. It's what binds us together, enabling us to support one another in times of hardship. Without empathy, people become emotionally detached and incapable of forming genuine bonds. A person lacking empathy might appear to be cold or distant, but there's something much more troubling beneath the surface. They don't care about you, not truly. They might pretend to, they might mimic concern when they need to, but at the heart of it, they are emotionally hollow. These individuals often view people as tools to get what they want, rather than as human beings deserving of love, respect, and kindness. They may manipulate your emotions, exploit your vulnerabilities, and take advantage of your trust. They don't feel your pain because in their minds you are simply a means to an end. They lack the capacity to truly understand how their actions affect you. They may say things like, "You're too sensitive," or "Why are you making such a big deal out of nothing?" This dismissiveness is part of their strategy to maintain control. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that we cannot always change the hearts of others. We cannot make someone feel empathy if they choose not to. What we can do is protect ourselves from those who fail to recognize the value of empathy. We can learn to recognize when someone's lack of empathy is creating harm in our lives and choose to distance ourselves from them. While it can be difficult to walk away from someone who lacks empathy, especially if they are close to you, remember that you are worth more than being treated with indifference or cruelty. Surround yourself with people who understand and share your emotions. Those who offer true compassion and care, not just when it benefits them, but consistently. Empathy is not just a moral virtue. It's essential for genuine human connection and mutual respect. If someone is consistently indifferent to your pain or dismissive of your feelings, it's a sign they don't deserve a place in your life. Sign 6. Gaslighting, the reality distorter. Have you ever been in a situation where someone made you question your own version of events? Where they told you things that were so clearly false, yet somehow made you start doubting your own memory, your perceptions, and even your sanity? This is the devastating effect of gaslighting, a psychological manipulation tactic used by human demons to make you question your reality. Gaslighting is subtle at first. It can start with small things like them denying something they said or did, or changing the facts of a situation to make you seem like you're overreacting. They might say things like, "That never happened," or "You're imagining things," even when you know you're not. Over time, these little denials start to chip away at your confidence in your own reality. The more they distort the truth, the more confused and unsure you become. Gaslighting is designed to make you feel like you can't trust your own judgment. The human demon behind it will slowly erode your sense of self, and eventually you'll start second-guessing everything. You might feel like you're constantly on edge, questioning whether you're the one who's crazy, irrational, or out of touch. They manipulate facts, emotions, and situations, all while pretending to be the reasonable one. And before you know it, they've created a reality where you feel entirely dependent on them for validation. The Stoics knew the importance of clarity of mind and self-trust. They taught that reason, rationality, and self-awareness are critical in navigating the world around us. We must never allow others to distort our perception of reality. If someone is gaslighting you, they are trying to steal your truth, and in doing so, they undermine your ability to think clearly and make rational decisions. Recognizing gaslighting can be difficult because it often starts with small distortions, but over time the manipulation becomes more overt. The best way to protect yourself from gaslighting is to trust your own experiences and perceptions. Write things down if you need to, keep track of conversations, and trust your own instincts. If someone consistently denies your reality or makes you feel like you're losing touch with the truth, it's time to set clear boundaries with them. Gaslighting is a form of control, and you do not have to accept being manipulated. Remember, no one has the right to make you doubt yourself. You are your own authority on your feelings and experiences. Stay grounded in your truth, and don't let anyone twist it to suit their narrative. The Stoics believed in living according to reason and integrity. Let this be your guiding principle when dealing with those who attempt to distort reality. Stay strong in your belief that you know what is true, and don't let anyone shake that confidence. Sign 7. Persistent victimhood, the eternal martyr. Have you ever encountered someone who always seems to find themselves in the midst of a crisis? No matter what happens, they are always the victim of some tragic circumstance, and somehow it's never their fault. They've been wronged, hurt, or betrayed by everyone, and they wear their suffering like a badge of honor. This constant state of victimhood is a telltale sign that you might be dealing with a human demon. People who live in a perpetual state of victimhood often use their victim status as a way to gain sympathy, attention, and control. They'll always find a way to turn the tables, making themselves the martyr in any situation. When something goes wrong, they're quick to claim that they've been unfairly treated, even if they were the ones who caused the problem in the first place. They shift the blame onto others and make everyone around them feel guilty, even though they are the ones who created the mess. At first, it may seem like they simply need help. You might feel sorry for them and offer your support, thinking they're just going through a rough patch. But as time goes on, you realize that no matter how much you give, no matter how much you help, they're never satisfied. They constantly need more, and nothing seems to help them break out of their cycle of victimhood. The tragedy becomes a part of their identity, and they feed on the sympathy and support they receive from others. This behavior is manipulative and exhausting. It's designed to keep people in a state of emotional debt. By constantly portraying themselves as the victim, these individuals seek to drain your energy, time, and attention. They want to keep you on their emotional hook, making you feel responsible for their unhappiness, even though they have the power to change their own situation. They refuse to take accountability for their actions or their lives, instead choosing to blame others and remain stuck in their victim mentality. The Stoics taught us that true strength lies in taking responsibility for our own actions, no matter what life throws at us. They believed that it is our reactions to external events, not the events themselves, that determine our happiness and peace of mind. The Stoic principle of amor fati, the love of fate, teaches us to embrace life's challenges without playing the victim. Life will present us with hardships, but it is how we respond to them that defines us. If someone is constantly playing the victim, they are refusing to take responsibility for their life and their choices. They are denying their own agency and shifting that burden onto you. This is not your responsibility. You cannot change their mindset or force them to take responsibility. But what you can do is protect yourself from being dragged into their endless cycle of self-pity and blame. Understand that helping someone who refuses to help themselves is a lost cause. Set boundaries and let them deal with their own challenges. You can be supportive, but you do not have to take on their emotional weight as your own. Conclusion: protecting your peace with Stoic wisdom. As we've explored the 7 signs of dealing with a human demon, emotional manipulation, constant drama, deceptive charm, energy draining, lack of empathy, gaslighting, and persistent victimhood, it's clear that these individuals can have a profoundly negative effect on your life. But the most important thing I want you to take away from this is that you have the power to protect yourself. You have the ability to recognize these toxic behaviors and set the necessary boundaries to protect your peace. The Stoics believed in focusing only on what is within our control. We cannot control the behavior of others, but we can control our reactions. We can control how much energy we allow others to take from us. We can control whether we engage with manipulative, toxic people, or whether we walk away from relationships that harm us. The key is self-awareness and self-discipline, knowing your worth and never allowing anyone to diminish it. It's easy to feel helpless when you're surrounded by toxic people. You might feel like you're stuck in relationships that drain you, confuse you, and leave you questioning your own worth. But you are not powerless. You have the ability to make decisions that honor your well-being. You can choose to remove yourself from toxic situations, and you can choose to walk away from people who don't respect your peace or your boundaries. Remember, you are the gatekeeper of your own mental and emotional health. If someone is manipulating, controlling, or draining you, it's okay to step back. It's okay to say no. It's okay to protect your energy and your peace, even if it means distancing yourself from people who aren't good for you. Self-care is not selfish. It's necessary. The Stoics didn't seek to avoid suffering, but they did teach us how to navigate it with dignity and strength. They showed us that the power lies not in changing others, but in changing our own mindset and reactions. You have the power to cultivate peace within yourself, to stay grounded in your values, and to protect your energy from those who seek to take it from you. You are stronger than you know. You are wiser than you realize. You don't have to tolerate toxic behavior, and you don't have to be the victim of someone else's manipulation. Stand firm in your truth, set your boundaries, and remember that your peace is yours to protect. You deserve to surround yourself with people who elevate you, who respect your boundaries, and who support your growth. And when you recognize a human demon in your life, do not hesitate to walk away. Choose peace, choose strength, choose the path of the Stoic, and never let anyone steal your peace again.